Welcome back, baseball fans. Welcome to another episode of the Vegas 9 Ball here at the beginning of November in 2025. Beautiful day here, sunny day here in Las Vegas, Nevada. And the high today will be 78, the low 56. And without further ado, let's get to the Vegas 9 Ball for the day, beginning of November 2025. First card of the day is a Bauman's Best. Tyler Glasnow here as a youngster with the Pirates. Of course, the Pirates traded him to the Tampa Bay Rays, and now he's playing with the Dodgers, and he's one of their frontline starters. And the thing I remember about Tyler Glasnow is, of course, he's always been a highly touted prospect, throws hard, has good stuff, but really hasn't been able to put it together. And the thing I remember about him is I remember seeing an interview with him early in his career where he had a lip tattoo. The inside of his lip was tattooed, and I always wondered if a guy that had the inside of his lip tattooed would be able to put it together. And up to this point, even though he has elite stuff, he really hasn't. He's had a few good starts and a few good years, but hasn't really turned into the elite pitcher, frontline pitcher that everybody thought. He's had some injuries, but he hasn't really developed into the superstar that everybody thought he was going to be early in his career. But yeah, the Pirates traded him to the Rays, and I as a member of the Dodgers staff. Here he is early in his career. This is his rookie card, I believe, with the Pirates, a Bauman's Best. Put Glasnow on the stand for his elite talent, the frontline starter, the big leagues. Next card is a Rick Manning here for the Indians. Of course, Rick Manning is famous for stealing the wife of Dennis Eckersley. Him and Eckersley were best friends, and unfortunately, somehow Manning ended up with Eckersley's wife, and of course, that caused a rift between the friendship, and Eckersley was traded shortly after this, but Manning would go on. He's been an announcer after he retired. He played for the Indians and then later on the Brewers, I believe. But now he's an announcer. He's been an announcer for a long time for the Indians and Guardians. So, but yeah, he'll always be remembered for being the guy who stole Eckersley's wife. And yeah, Rick Manning. I think he was like a number 2 overall draft pick, but he never really panned out to superstar. But yeah, here he is early in his career, Rick Manning. Next card is that guy that Manning betrayed, Dennis Eckersley. And Eckersley, of course, would turn out to be a Hall of Famer, I believe. He started his career as a starting pitcher, but then really gained fame as a closer for the A's and the Cardinals, and he pitched for the Cubs as well. But yeah, here he is with that high leg kick, kind of that sidearm delivery that we all knew, everybody remembers, Eckersley. And yeah, he started his career with the Indians, and of course they traded him after that affair with his wife and Rick Manning to the Red Sox, and then he'd move on to the Cubs, I believe, from there, and had a long career as a starter and a closer, and I believe he had a Hall of Fame career. We'll put him on the Hall of Fame stand, Dennis Eckersley. Next card is John Lowenstein. Here he is. He's a Las Vegas guy, and we always called him Fredo. You know, he wasn't Michael Corleone or Sonny. He was more Fredo with his butterfly collar there, kind of the Las Vegas guy. And if you look on the back of the card, you can see here at the bottom, home, Las Vegas, Nevada. And he's a guy, that would have, over 100 big league home runs, and was kind of a fourth outfielder type guy. But we always called him Fredo here in Las Vegas for his fashion sense, and you see him here with the perm and the stash, and you can just imagine him at the disco in the late 70s out here in Las Vegas. We'll put him on the Las Vegas stand, John Lowenstein. Next card is Dave Dravecky. You see him here in the sling. Dave Dravecky, of course, was pitching for the Giants, and he had the tumor in his arm, and he was out for almost a year, and he came back. I believe in the second start, when he came back from that cancerous tumor in his arm, he was throwing a pitch, and his arm snapped almost right in half as he was throwing a pitch. And you see him here in the sling, and unfortunately that cancerous tumor that he had in his arm would return, and I think eventually he had to have his arm amputated. And so you see him here tipping his hat to the crowd for their support. But unfortunately that cancerous tumor that he had in his arm would return, and eventually would have to have his arm amputated. So kind of a sad story, but one of adversity with Dravecky battling through that tumor, and we always respect him for his courage in dealing with that admirably. So here he is, Dave Dravecky, with his arm in a sling, saluting the crowd with the Giants in the late 80s. Next card is Mike Schmidt. Here he is, swinging the bat before a game, looks like. L screen in the background. And he has a warm-up jacket on. And of course, Mike Schmidt, one of the greatest third basemen to ever do it. And it's a nice-looking swing here with Schmitty warming up before the game. And, of course, he had that big home run where I think he had 3 or 4 home runs in a game against the Cubs, I remember, in the mid-'70s when the one was blown out. And, big-time power, big-time player, probably one of the best third basemen ever. We'll put him on the Hall of Fame stand. Mike Schmidt, good-looking card. Next card is another third baseman, Scott Cooper. Of course, Scott Cooper was a big-time talent for the Red Sox, and he was the guy that was supposed to replace Wade Boggs. And they were really high on Scott Cooper. And unfortunately, he never really turned into that superstar. Good solid player, but kind of a guy, didn't have a whole lot of pop. Had a good glove, but never really developed the power you expect from a corner infielder. And he's the guy that replaced Wade Boggs in Boston at third base after Boggs moved on to the Yankees and the Rays. And Scott Cooper. Here he is as a rookie for the Red Sox, down and ready. The next card is a Royals Future Stars, Rooney Martin, Bill Pascal, and Dan Quisenberry. Of course, Dan Quisenberry is the most famous one out of these three. And the Quiz had that submarine delivery and was a closer for the Royals for a long time, and an elite closer, and several saves for the Royals, probably the Royals' all-time saves leader. The Quiz, we'll put the Quiz on the stand. And the last card of the day is a Mickey Lolich. Mickey Lolich, here he is as a Padre. Of course, he began his career with the Tigers and had several great seasons for the Tigers. He was part of that 1968 Tigers team that won the World Series over the Cardinals. And in that World Series, the 1968 World Series, believe it or not, he had 3 complete games and 3 wins. 3 wins, 3 complete games in that 1968 World Series for the Tigers, and had a long career. Probably should be a Hall of Famer. Let's look at the stats here on the back at this point. 217 and 189, 3.42 ERA. You see his long career with the Tigers before moving on to the Mets briefly, and then with the Padres towards the end. But Mickey Lolich will always be remembered in that 1968 World Series where he had 3 complete game wins, and was a real star for the Tigers in that World Series. We'll put Mickey Lolich on the stand. Probably should be a Hall of Famer. And that will conclude the Vegas 9 for the day. I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope to bring you back. And we appreciate you watching. Take care, and God bless.